raised surrounded with heterosexuality, as most gay people are. That's where we come from. All you heterosexuals out there. And it doesn't change anybody. It's not contagious. Nobody in their right mind would choose something that's so hard. You're not only a minority in society, you're a minority in your own family. At least when you're black, your parents are saying, hey, we're all black, and this is kind of hard sometimes, but be proud of who you are, and when you're gay, your parents are not saying, good for you, They're like, oh, how did this happen? And how do we, so...
And now Ellen DeGeneres is telling the world she has unleashed a torrent of controversy, including the accusation that she's just gunning for ratings by having her character come out on the show.
There it is. Wow, I forgot how good looking she was. I mean, she has really aged since then. My name is Paul Chappell, and I am the host of the Binge List. Welcome. You probably already heard that Ellen has been getting some flack about stuff going on behind the scenes. Her work culture has been deemed toxic by some of former players that worked on her show. I'm not really surprised, to tell you the truth, and I'm kind of torn about whether it really actually means anything. And what I mean by that is, let me just put it this way. I don't like Ellen as a person, and it goes a long way back, and I'm going to explain why. But the thing she's being accused of being mean behind the scenes, berating people, berating her writers, that's something that most talk show hosts are guilty of. I know for a fact that Dave Letterman was like that. I'm pretty sure just about every talk show host, if you consider what they have to do to get those gigs, there are so many comedians out there that will be just as good at their jobs. And yet somehow Jay Leno and David Letterman and all these other people like Conan O'Brien, who didn't even have a background as a comedian, were able to secure talk show host gigs. Why is that? It's because they are ruthless people. And it does not surprise me that Ellen would be ruthless and mean and whatever she's been accused of. As somebody who has had management roles, leadership roles throughout my life, I gotta admit, being an asshole helps you get things done. Some of the best managers I've ever had have been a little bit ruthless, a little bit mean. It is what it is. So I don't really have a problem with her per se being that way. And I think some of the outrage is that she presents herself as this just positive, kind person on her show. And I'm sure she is to most celebrities. But I've heard many stories of her just being either mean to people just everyday people or people that work for her or whatever. I mean, I even remember I had to look up this post. And I'm sorry that the only place I could find it was on Fox News. But this story came out in 2007. This is right after the writer's strike. She crossed the picket lines. One of her writers wrote this: "We'd watch her in rehearsal, smiling and winning us over with her charm and comic timing. Then the director would yell, 'Cut.' Her face would fall, and she'd level a glare at the writers. 'Why do you keep writing these unfunny jokes?' she'd hiss." So this whole persona she puts out there on her talk show, it's an act. But is it unique to Ellen? No, it's not. There's a lot of celebrities, I guarantee you, who put out this nice persona, but they're actually hard asses when you meet them in person. if you have the misfortune of meeting them in person. Because what's that old adage? Never meet your heroes. That's one reason why you never should meet your heroes. Because show business is a ruthless business, and it takes a ruthless person to make it to the top, to the superstardom that Ellen has gotten to. I mean, from the last thing I read, she was worth about something like $300 million. But Ellen has always been about herself and furthering her career, which is one of the reasons I don't like her. But like I said, I don't have a problem with her being a hard ass. But I think a lot of the backlash to this news is just the fact that she's a woman and women aren't allowed to be hard asses. But the side I don't like about Ellen is the fact that she has presented herself as this gay rights activist. But I feel like a lot of the things that she did in her career was solely so she could move ahead in Hollywood. Because you have to remember, when she came out as gay, her show was on the verge of being canceled. I mean, there's no way around that. And she's kind of rewritten that history a little bit. She actually alluded to this in this letter she wrote to her staff. And let me just read the pertinent paragraph. I am also learning that people who work with me and for me are speaking on my behalf and misrepresenting who I am, and that has to stop. As someone who was judged and nearly lost everything for being who I am, I truly understand and have deep compassion for those being looked at differently or treated unfairly, not equal, or worse, disregarded. And this is bullshit, okay? There's really no way around it. She came out as gay when her show was being on the verge of being canceled. Now, she did that knowing that it was going to take her to that next level. Because look, back then in the 90s, there was a lot of comedians with sitcoms. Jerry Steinfeld, Bill Cosby, Steve Harvey, Martin Lawrence. And they all achieved this superstardom after their sitcom. So if you were a comedian back then, the natural way for you to get to that superstardom was to get a successful sitcom. And her sitcom was not successful. So what does she do? That episode where she comes out as a lesbian in front of Oprah Winfrey on her show, that was the highest rated episode of her show ever. Because the show was not good. Let's just be frank about this. The show was not good. That's why it was being canceled. And even though it did raise her ratings for a short period of time, she ended up getting canceled anyway. So my point here is that she clearly came out of the closet because she thought it would help her career. And it did help her career. It didn't help her sitcom because, like I said, her sitcom was not good. But she was the toast of Hollywood after that. You got to remember, when she came out, she was dating like Anne Heche. Anne Heche was a beautiful, just one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood at that time. And they were the toast of town. Everywhere they went, there was cameras recording this momentous, coming out. And, it didn't hurt that she was this cute blonde woman that everybody thought was funny. But you're probably looking at me now thinking, Paul Chappell, how can you be sure? How can you be sure that everything Ellen DeGeneres has done for gay rights has been solely self-serving? Well, I'll tell you how I really became sure when she sat down with George W. Bush. Remember that? Remember that incident? Everybody was outraged on the internet for like a week. And she had to even explain on her show that even though, yes, he's against gay marriage, I can hang out with people who have different opinions than me. Well, here's the problem. Would any gay rights activist who was doing everything for the goodness of the community be caught dead hanging out with George W. Bush? Just think about that. And think about the fact, and I do call it a fact, that she solely came out on her show to save her show. Because at the time, she thought it was her only shot for superstardom. So I just don't believe that she's this great gay rights activist that she presents herself as. So for that reason alone, I don't like her. Now, let me be clear. I do commend her for having black people on her show. She's had at least 2 black DJs on her show, probably a lot of musicians and whatever. She's done things for people in the black community. She was the only one to defend Kevin Hart when they accused him of homophobia for that tweet over 10 years ago. So I commend her for some of the things she's done. I don't think she's a completely bad person. Let me be clear about that. But as I said, like a lot of people in Hollywood, she's totally self-serving. Everything she's done for her career. And now that she has her money, she has hers. She don't have to worry about all those other gay people. So she can hang out with people like George Bush. That's all I'm saying. It has nothing to do with homophobia. I'm not homophobic. I just feel like everything she's done for a particular reason. And that reason is fame and success, which is what she now has. But yeah, I don't have much more to say about that issue. Do I think she should lose her show? No, I don't think she should lose her show. I think it's, from what I can tell, it's a good show. It's funny. Like I said, it's an act. Everything she does on that show is an act, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with that. What's that old saying? Don't hate the player, hate the game. Hey, she plays the game and she played it well. And I commend her for that, but I still don't like her. But anyway, that's all I got for today. I'd like to thank my subscribers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button before you go. And if you're already a subscriber, smash that bell so you know when my next video drops. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.